How is everyone doing? So in today's video I'm going to show you how to make one of these 13 signs. So let's get on with it. So to make this sign, what we need to start off with is some MDF. So it's nothing special, it's not a specific thickness for this one. This is just something I had laying around and I just cut it to size. So basically what I did was basically had a reference picture of the 13 sign that's at Alton Towers, and I basically just sort of held a ruler up against part of it, and I've just scaled it to sort of roughly this. So basically all you need is to cut this to whatever size you want your sign to be, and then you need to get a sheet of EVA foam, which is what people use for making all their cosplay outfits and making various props and stuff. You might know it as the flooring mats that join together. You can either get the black ones or these these are kid ones. The only reason I got these ones is because they were on clearance at B&Q, one of my favourite shops. And so yeah, I paid a couple of quid and got 2 packs of these. So basically, yeah, you get your sheet, and then I drew out some designs. Well, I drew out the letters basically, and tried to scale them as best as I could using the scale that I used for the MDF. And yeah, drew my design out in pencil and then used my scalpel to cut them out. So once you've cut all these out, this is something that you'll be left with, something similar to this. It's not perfect, it's not an exact replica in places, but to be honest, once it's up on the wall and mounted like that one, you won't really tell too much. So yeah, on the other side obviously is the textured side, but I don't want to have to smooth all that out, so I made the smooth side the side that we were going to use. So why I haven't done this one in foam like I did for the Nemesis one, basically there's no reason, I just fancied trying a different way, so I thought why not, let's try with some MDF, let's do this. We're still using foam because we're using the EVA foam, and we're actually going to make some like logs or branches that are going to go around the edge to match that of the sign. I will say again that next time if I do anything like this, I am going to get like a scroll saw style hot wire cutter, because it would have made cutting these out a lot easier. Cutting foam out with a scalpel when you have to do like these tight corners is not easy. So with a hot wire table cutter, if that's what you want to call it, would have made life a lot easier. I probably could have actually just used this, to be fair, and sort of held it on the edge and gone round like that. Probably could have done that, but yeah, we're always trying things and always learning, so that's good. Now with regards to the actual making the logs for this, there's various different ways we could do this. We could use like the grey pipe insulation that you see, just for like household piping. You could get that and then use the foam cutter to cut some shapes in it and bend it slightly and make it look like branches that way, which is a good idea. Or you could use tin foil. You can like roll up tin foil and then make it into the shapes that you want it, and then coat it with various different things. Clay is quite a popular one because you can then easily shape it to look like wood and stuff. So, which is something I'm probably going to do in the future because I quite like the idea of doing something with clay. But what I'm going to be doing for this one is expanding foam. Now, I've not done a lot with expanding foam. Actually, I've not done a lot with anything recently, to be honest. But what we're going to do is basically just lay out some lines and try and get something looking branch-like. And then I can always then go in with the hot wire cutter and various other scraping tools and stuff to shape them and make them look like logs. Yeah, we're going to have to get the basic design with this, but I think expanding foam should work quite well. And I've just got to make sure I put greaseproof paper down so it doesn't stick to absolutely everything. And also wear gloves because this stuff will stick to your skin like nothing else. And it is a pain to get off. So let's do some expanding foaming. Right, so once you've got your greaseproof paper laid out, because whatever this touches other than this, it's going to stick, and it's going to stick a lot. So I've got my reference photo. Yes, it's on a pink iPad case, one of it. So yeah, let's see if we can start laying some of these down. Now, going off the reference photo, it looks like there's not actually that many branches, unlike the logo that you see, which has a lot of branches on it. This doesn't look like that many, so I'm just going to start laying some in and see what happens. I don't know how much this is going to expand though, to be honest. Oh well, we'll see what happens. Here it comes. So as you can see, now this is fully cured, and it's fairly hard stuff, and it just basically lifts off. You just see it lifts off the greaseproof paper quite easily, and yeah, we can start shaping this and making it look something like branches. I mean, it kind of looks pretty good at the moment, to be honest. I'm quite pleased with how it's turned out. But yeah, we can always add a few bits and take a few of the more bobbly bits away to make it look more like a branch, as opposed to, yeah, what it does at the moment. So yeah, let's get sculpting some foam. Now I have shaped it a bit and sort of gone over with some sandpaper. I used just 180 grit sandpaper and some various rasps and knives and stuff just to sort of shape things out how I wanted them, make them look a bit more log-like. Sort of done some recesses and made it look like bits are overlapping other bits and such. I'm quite happy with this. There might be some bits I want to change it once I've got some paint on it, but until that happens I don't really know what it's going to look like. So I'm also a bit undecided as to whether I'm going to have these letters behind this or in front of this, so like put them up on some little pegs. I think once I've got it painted I will have a better idea. I think though for this stuff, the expanding foam, I might give it a coat of PVA glue just to try and get rid of some of that porous texture. I think that's what it needs. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. For the PVA foam, So for the PVA glue, I have got this no nonsense PVA. It's basically just building PVA. Got it from the good old shop B&Q. So yeah, it's PVA is PVA to me. Yeah, obviously I'll water it down, but the only reason I went with this brand as well is because it was the cheapest. So we'll mix some of that up, get it on some of this expanding foam, and yeah, see where we go from there. Right, so, oh, excuse the lack of top, it's warm today. So basically I've left this 24 hours to dry, and I'm not very happy with the finish of it. It's still a bit, yeah, you can probably hear that. It's still pretty rough. It's not as smooth as I was expecting it to be, but this has forced me to try something else, which is a method involving the PVA glue, which some of it is still wet from yesterday because I put it in this tub. It's gone hard at the bottom, but there's still a good amount on top that's nice and wet still. And kitchen roll, just cheap as you like kitchen roll. So basically we can make this look like bark on this, so it should actually make this look better, look more like branches as opposed to nemesis off bits. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to yeah, tear some of this up, cover it in glue, and get it on here and get it nice and get it looking right. So yeah, let's get on with it. So as you can see, I have started, and it actually already looks a million times better. It looks a lot more like an old sort of haunted tree branch would look, I think. And as soon as I get some paint on that, it's going to look a million times better. I'm very pleased with that. However, I cannot take credit for this idea. I'm going to link it in the description, but you have to go check out, if this is the sort of thing you're interested in, go check out Where the Gnomes Live, because her channel is just full of, yeah, some really helpful tips for sculpting things like this. And yeah, as I say, I'll put the link in the description to her channel because I've been watching a lot of her stuff recently, and it's very good stuff. So I highly recommend going to check it out. So a little trick when painting stuff like this, because it's so light and small, you're going to be painting it and it's going to be trying to run away with you. So I mean, it doesn't stick to this the best, but if you get some masking tape and just tear a bit off, loop it round on itself so that the sticky bit is on the outside, and then stick that way, whichever, it doesn't really matter. Stick that on there like that, and then just stick it to the table, and that, I'll show you, that will limit it running away too far. So to try and conserve some paint, I'm using a slightly smaller brush. Let's check that on. So yeah, we don't need to thin this down because we don't need to get it into any crevices or anything, so we're just going to use the paint straight out. So as you can see, I've already made a start. I'm getting some colour down on this. So you can see the original, which is there once it's sort of semi-dried. It does go clear when it's dry, but some of it's still not 100% dry. So yeah, I'm basically just laying some brown as a base colour, and then I'll add some details once that's dried. But yeah, what you want to do is I'm just using normal emulsion paint, nothing special, watering it down a lot. The more you water it down, the easier it is to work with. It's a lot easier to overwater it and have to do a couple of layers than it is to have it too thick and struggle, because there's a lot of crevices and stuff it has to get in, and when it's watered down it just makes things a million times easier. Fortunately, I did that thing again where I get carried away and I just end up doing loads of stuff and then not actually recording anything, so I apologise for that. But what I have done is the MDF backing board that I sprayed it white. Yes, I did spray it. I'll show you what I used. This has got to be the cheapest gun I have ever bought. I have got some proper professional spray guns, but this is just a little gun because at the moment all I'm using is that little compressor down there. So my bigger guns, it's not going to have it at all. So I thought I'd try this. So yeah, I basically just thinned the paint down as much as I possibly could, put it through this gun, sprayed it onto there. Reasons for that is because it gives you, I didn't want any brush strokes on that. So with a spray gun you're not going to get brush strokes. And secondly, you can blend stuff a lot easier with these, as opposed to trying to brush it or sponge it or what other method you want to use. So spray gun is the best one for that. It hasn't give the best coverage because I'm trying to put household paints through a spray gun, which is never a good starting point to start with. So it's a bit speckled, but I quite like the result. I think it's come out nice. I did get a run in it, which I'm a little bit annoyed about down there, but we can get rid of that. We can cover that up, because what I've got to do is, if you look at the sign, there's actually like branches on it, sort of just randomly on it, so I'm just going to add that and just cover that up with one of them, so you won't even know it's there. Well, you guys will, because you just watched this, but anybody else looking at it will not even notice it. So now this is all dry and it looks quite good. I'm toying with the idea of going over with a lighter brown to just give it a bit of a highlight, but to be honest I might not, because it's supposed to be like an evil tree, so like branches, so I might just leave it dark and just see what happens. I mean, so you can see that's pretty sturdy now. It's got a little bit of flex in it, but you know, it's pretty sturdy. So if I just place that on top of there, so you can see the sort of rough design of what we're going for here. And then obviously with the lettering in there, a few little branches and stuff. Put them a bit further down, sort of like that. Yeah, that'll look pretty good. Quite pleased with that. Looks nice. So the next step, I think, is lay the lettering out and sort of see roughly where I want these little background branches on. Before we airbrush the background branches onto the MDF, I'm actually just gonna put a few dabs of glue onto these letters and yeah, put them in place, because this is where I want them. I don't think I need them off the board anymore. I think that I can go ahead and get them stuck on. So what I'm using is good old Gorilla Glue, because it sticks everything and it works really well with foam and wood. So I'm sticking foam to wood, so why wouldn't I use it? And yeah, this stuff is really good for this kind of work. It says to apply a small amount and then wet the other surface, because it reacts and dries and goes hard with moisture. So So that's what I'm going to do. Tiny bit of water, bit of glue, we should be good to go. So I'm going to use my long level just across the top, just so that I keep things nice and square, because you know the letters don't have to be perfect, but I want them sort of all relatively in the same line. So I'll keep that there just so I can use it as a guide more than anything. So let's get sticking. Right, so now we've got to this stage where I'm pretty much calling that finished. So, but what we do need to still do is connect this to this. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're actually going to drill through the MDF, make some pre-holes, and then stick some screws from the bottom facing up, and then we'll basically skewer this onto it with a bit of glue on it. And that should hold it in place.